Yo, what's up, guys? A little bit of a what if. There's still this fifth, or is it the sixth? It is the sixth one that isn't open yet. So there's new units potentially for the 2H. It's been a while since we had the last 2H, and we've always been looking at 2H units for 3 stars or 2 stars. But what if they actually change that up and make some 4 stars? Because if you add in the 4 stars, you could go for certain families that are currently not doable because they have a 4-star within the family, such as, for example, the Chloe, which I think would be a very interesting family for the 2As in the first place, because Chloe would be insanely good for Arena and RTA because it already has pretty good skills. It already is a 111 base. That's pretty nice. Rina could be the next Camilla kind of OP thing. I definitely could see use of Michelle, which Eladriel kind of unit. I can see a lot of work for Iona becoming very strong, also 111 base. If you up those skills, but just a little bit, that would be a lot of potential. And Rashid, I'm not too sure about her, but I could see her potential as well in the 2A. So let's look at a few units that, what if they actually add in 4 stars in the 2A. In the end, making a 4-star 2A would only increase their base stats by just a little bit, because all of the units, the moment they get 2-8, they get to the base stats of about a 4.5 star. So we have seen that, for example, if we take the Broid on a 2A, goes for a pretty insane improvement on the base stats by just getting that 2A. But in the end, it's the value of a 4.5 star. And there's definitely a bunch of families in the 4 stars, which pretty much the whole family is not used. Of course, you're not gonna make a Lucian 2A because that would be a little bit too OP. But there's definitely a few units out there. I would say these maybe, well, there's a few of them used. Which family is actually really not used as much? I could see 2A on this whole family, to be honest. It would maybe be a little bit insane on the Huadam, but I could definitely see that for a potential. One that I was thinking more of, where actually the whole family is very bad and just not used at all, are these. Like, sure, you can kind of use them, sure, they're kind of okay-ish, but I would say the Samurai definitely does hold some value to get 2As in there, and I think if you up the base stats of them for just a little bit, they already become really good, because in the end, they're not bad units, but they kind of lack the base stats, they kind of lack the value of what can you do, and the moment you start improving these skills, I can definitely see those 4 stars being definitely very insane. What else are 4 stars that I would like to see? Well, you cannot do anything, of course, that would have like a Han in there or anything like that, or any of those 5 stars as mentioned. I would say Sylphid's, well, definitely one of those. Like, the Icarus is already pretty decently strong. I would say Icarus is only it's probably the only one kind of used right now. If she gets a little bit better base stats on the HP, she would be a lot better. That's like, you don't even have to change the skills. And you might say it's like, oh, but say that's too OP. Some of these units are already used and that kind of stuff. Well, do you remember when Kali got the 2A? And it still kind of remained Kali. Like, they didn't really improve that much, except for a little bit of base stats improvement. I don't even think she got that much of a base stat improve. So let's see if we actually have one. No, they already show like the max one on this. So I think she didn't get that much of a base stat improvement. Sure, a little bit, but not crazy. And that would definitely add a whole new dynamic to the game, where people start like reinventing, reusing, and kind of units that they were normally neglecting of using. So it's always been the talk of like, what can they add to the game without adding another chore that you also have to farm that? Because for a lot of people, the artifacts weren't that well received, because it's like, oh, no, I also have to farm artifacts. Still, a lot of people, especially in lower ranks, big issue what they're still not doing is farming those artifacts, and therefore they're not progressing. But getting new units, everyone is always kind of excited about. But then the big issues on the new units is a lot of them are behind like a paywall. If you have to summon them, RNG wall, you have to summon them. Sure, fusions you could add in there. That could definitely add in a new fusion unit. I wouldn't definitely be against that. But most of the new fusion units are not that great. Well, Gapsa was kind of great, I would say. But yeah, there's a lot of options that I could see is like, ooh, what if you up this family to a 4-star? It also right away would improve their modules, because some of these have like pretty late modules. And rather than upping the modules, what they did on a few units for just the base module, what if instead of upping the module, you up the module by making them a 2A? Because in the end, if we compare the current Lucian to how the Lucian looked like before, like this kind of Lucian looks kind of like a 2A Lucian, right? So rather than just upping the model, how about we make things 2A and we actually change them? So Of course, a Lucian family would not really be a 2A susceptible family unless you change absolutely nothing to the Lucian or like barely anything except for a little bit of base stats and just make him more HP, more tankiness. And then you can kind of get away with still doing a Lucian. But how dope would it be if the 4-stars actually do get kind of revived and get stronger and get 2As? Because then in the end, they could still make good money by making some of the LD 4-stars as a 2A a very strong unit that is not HOH. That would definitely be an interesting one. How about the Luna family or like the Pirate family on 2As? I could see is like Clara and Julie would probably be too strong. Also for 4-star Siege, it would add a new dynamic to 4-star Siege, which could add a lot of different vibes to 4-star Siege in the first place. Ooh, how about Kung Fu Girls 2A? Yo, these things are already kind of RNG. I would say Leo May probably already kind of good. But yeah, let's just actually go through all of the 4-stars, which I would say is like, ooh, I would like that for 2A. So I would definitely say Ninetale Fox family, I could say they could use a 2A. None of them are really that crazy good. Arang is okay-ish, but wouldn't be bad if she was made a little bit better. Shihua is arguably pretty good for siege offenses, but I wouldn't mind that just a little bit addition to it. These, I would say, whole family not used. Well, I would say Delphoy is used a little bit here and there. Same for Talisha and certain kind of offenses and RTA. But it's not that crazy. Ikasha not used as much. Here does Ashubel, Shimete, Tyrone. I wouldn't mind that for 2A actually. Maybe that Shimete would get a pretty strong thing. No, actually none of them are like, they're all kind of okay-ish. They're all kind of niche. They're also super old by the look of this model where they just have an ice cone on top of their head or something looking like that. But I could see a 2A on this whole family. Would absolutely not be against that. Mihail, we already talked about it. It might be a little bit on the strong side for the Ikasha or the Ikaris, but besides that, kind of worth. Ooh, these. Oh, I think if you 2A those would be very nasty, very strong, because already the skill one is pretty annoying with all of the cycling, keeping them in the loop, keeping them sleeping, that kind of stuff. Lucian, personally, I wouldn't mind to see it, but since they already did the model reskin and Lucian is already arguably very good. But you can see like the skin difference between this and this. And rather than just updating the skin, how about you just update the whole thing to become 2A? Let's say that for the ones that have a 5-star in the family, you're not really gonna do that. But I wouldn't mind to see like a Ninja 2A as well. That would be pretty strong. Same for the Pirates. Pirates would be really nice. Would also buff everyone's favorite dungeon unit out there, the Luna itself. I would say that she could become something that's very strong or very good for Necro because she does have a lot of multi-hits plus a spammable multi-hit, which is definitely very nice in the first place. So also this making dungeons a lot easier would be nice. Ooh, these. You do see some Guillaume in the siege defense from time to time, but any of the others, well, this is actually a pretty legit unit for some of the Rift Beast, Rift Raid, so it would be a nice one too. And Lure, I could see Lure being buffed to like maybe like pushing back 100% or that kind of stuff, or adding something else where it's just like a guaranteed defense break. I always love those guaranteed things, but Kanto is always guaranteed on anything? Oh, hell no. Keep that shit hidden. Yeah, no, that's just what I like. We also had those recently buffed. Those also have 5-star in the family, so probably won't happen. But Vert 2A, yeah, I don't even want to think about that thing. Chloe 2A, I did mention it before. It would be nice if they also do the overlapping of the 3-star with the 4-star family first, because that actually gives them a chance to do some of the 3-star families. That would be really nice. And I do actually think that this would be a pretty nice family to give a full 2A. Same for these. Also, definitely forgotten units. All 5 of them definitely not bad, but definitely also very forgotten / not used. I do think some people use her in the Eludia dungeon. Besides that, it's not really used as much anymore. And those are mainly PvE units or some niche units. And that would be pretty nice for 2As in the first place. So could see that being workable. I would say that the Dragon Knights, or what is it? Death Knights, not Dragon Knights. A few of them are pretty used already. So, wait, this one has 116 base? Didn't even know. But yeah, Arnold is decently used. Fedora is sometimes used for niche things. Brian, same thing. Conrad, same thing. Diaz, same thing. So, arguably already a good one. Don't really see it. Oh, no, I don't, no. Not this family. This family we exclude from. This thing hella toxic in defense. This thing hella toxic everywhere. This thing in the 4-star net, or what's it called? 4-star RTA. Already pretty toxic. This thing can legit be pretty toxic. If they want to do a really toxic family, then yeah, definitely Liches could be a toxic family. Did speak about the samurais already. I do like myself some samurais. Same for the Kung Fu girls. Would be, oh, yeah, please. I want this to be a super good buff blocker. Sure, it's already a decent-ish buff blocker, but I just want this to be the perfect buff blocker for SF. No more random AoE hits with this. Just change this whole skill to be like a specific hit on a specific target, and then just make this like a perfect AI state on debuffs or whatnot. I don't care, but this thing should be the best thing for SF ever, and currently still kind of ass. Faye, next level RNG. Leo May could be definitely annoying if that would be actually added in there. Let's continue on. Oh, wait, we actually did miss the Archer family because they have some 3 and some 4 stars. I would say Bethany on the 2A, same for Chris on the 2A. That would maybe be a little bit busted, but for the other 3, it would definitely be a nice addition to it. I could see them actually being 2A, same as like what they did with the Kali. Sure, it became a lot better, but it didn't become like super crazy OP. You have to keep in mind the 2A on the 4 star is just a little bit of a base stat increase because you increase to a 0.5 extra rather than a 3 star that gets a 1.5 extra. Moving on next. Oh, these are... No, I'm not sure. Well, it would be cool to have a 2A on like Orion and that kind of stuff. But I think that these would be a little bit too much. Arguably already one of the best Tripper plus buffers in-game. Great buffer on this unit already. If this thing gets more slips, would be super toxic. Gemini, arguably not a bad unit. Only Gemini is bad if you expect it to strip and do the defense break. But if it's just there for the defense break or just there for the strip and you have a backup of one of the other 2, Gemini is actually a pretty good unit. I've been using that with like a Jogun plus Gemini. Then Gemini kind of works fine. Or you use a Gemini plus a Galleon, then it kind of works fine. So definitely one of those things, if you add more to that, would be pretty strong. Ooh, also definitely a forgotten family, the Cobalt Bombers. I used to, one of my first bombs that I was using a lot was Malaka. Then at some point I got a Dover, was using a lot of Dover. Right now, well, bombs are not really that much meta, but simply a Leebly, which is HOH right now, is just way better. So definitely a family I could see getting a 2A. Would be a fun one. Well, this one has like 5 stars in there, so I don't really expect that to be a 2A mechanic. We had a fair amount of buffs on these. I would definitely say that Mimir and Grosveld are already fairly used, so maybe would be a little bit too strong on those. Ooh, Galleon 2A. Galleon 2A to never miss a defense break. Yeah, everyone happy. Except Comtus, because they don't like things being 100%. Too bad. Well, let's say Galleon 2A, and the target you click on guaranteed has the defense break on that one, and the rest is still by chance of, like, missing. It's a something. At least your Pong Big is gonna get consistent. So I would kind of like that. Frigate 2A would be very nasty. Or this thing, make this thing the best perfect thing out there for SF dungeon farming. Would be really nice. Bark, they already did buff this one recently. It's not a bad unit, but it could use a little bit more. And this is the wannabe Sierra that's just bad. Ooh, 2A's on these. No, keep that shit hidden. This one already usable. This one already good. This is actually, wait, is this the only 4-star family where I would say all of the 4 stars are usable? Because this is for Siege, this is for RTA/Arena, this is for Siege. This can still be used in Siege sometimes, in RTA it's not that crazy. And this can be used in Siege. So that's actually the only 4-star in the whole family kit that actually has like proper 4 stars. Interesting. This one, definitely Forgotten Family, except of course the Astar, very well used. Iris, still some defense here and there, it's still kind of decent. But 2A on those, I wouldn't mind that. Actually, Lanette was one of the best units in Summoners War Chronicles. Arguably still one of the better units in Summoners War Chronicles. This skill 3 just pretty much is like a vacuum that sucks everyone in. Does an insane amount of AoE damage. And then if you... it also roots there because it's a moving around game. And then if you root at something, you go for this skill. They could definitely do more along the lines with those kind of units in there. Ooh, I would love myself some Assassin 2As. Like, often it's just a little bit lack of damage, especially on this one where it's like, ooh, she actually has a really cool kit. Getting more attack bar, getting like an ignore defense, doing a lot of damage. Just lacking that little bit of damage. So that would be fixed a little bit by having that. And Isabel would definitely be really nice. Natalie, I don't think anyone has ever used ever. But yeah, Tanya and Isabel would be definitely very usable, very nice. Okay, we also have the Neostone Fighters. I would say Carl also probably needs, like, this skill is really nice, but it's lacking the damage. If you add, like, an attack buff on top of it, or you add just a little bit of extra, he will be really, really good. Lucas is already crazy good for some of the Rift Beast, Rift Raids, those kind of good stuff. A little bit of buff on them, wouldn't mind. Logan, Ryan, yeah, I definitely do think that this whole family could use one as well. This one does have 5 stars in there, so I don't really expect this one to be buffed. But I would say it wouldn't be bad if they get a buff. Like, they kind of can use it. Well, this one, same thing. I would definitely say Armana. If Armana's 4.5 base stats, that will be making him really good because his kit is goated. It's just the base stats are really holding him back. Kubesinov also has 5 stars in there. Oh, yeah, okay, no, keep this one hidden. Keep this one hidden. We're not gonna make a Misty 2.5 star. It's actually funny. They could take the model from Summoners War Chronicles, which is a way bigger, like, Jack-o'-lantern kind of thing. I'll show it on the screen over here, how that looks like. They can already take that module and just make that the 2A, because this is actually the non-awakened version, and the awakened version is then, like, the big version. So, yeah, they could definitely do 2As for those. Would be really strong on the chilling side. Windy, well, we're actually happy that we're kind of get rid of the Windy. But yeah, those would be maybe a little bit too strong. Ooh, these on the 2A. No, Rakuni 2A. No red 2A. This thing is the only 3-star in-game that is already usable without, like, just as a 3-star. If this thing would be 2-8, oh man, I would not be as happy as this smiling thing over there. Absolutely not. Skogul 2A, yeah, it's definitely something that's off meta right now. Like, this thing was never actually good, except for, like, Inting, Treshar, Skogul 2A. Could see the use of that. Ooh, I would love these dudes to be 2A. I actually like the style of them, like, in general. Kakana would definitely be Siege meta. Covenant would be very Siege meta. Carbine, I do still see some drafts where there's a lot of water, especially AoE waters. I use this thing a lot in the More meta, because More S2 triggers this thing and then you just, like, straight up kill it. If you put this thing on the Revenge, More triggers the Revenge, just, like, backhanded. Lots of damage. Love that. So did use that a fair bit. Magnum, same thing. Dragonov is kind of nice, but I don't really like his passive. It's just Carcano's better, except that he is a certain element that will be countered by other certain elements. Still nice. Well, these two, these are all, like, or that they have 5 stars in there. Would be not bad to have, like, a 2A on the ones that are not 5-star, but they're already kind of good, so I don't really need it. I would definitely say, well, this one, the Malite, is definitely still something that's used, but a little bit of upgrade wouldn't be bad. Miranate 2A and stuff. No, I think that these are fine for what they do. They're all kind of very niche. I would say that she's already really good for arena offense, really good for the TOA Hell, really good for TOA Hell. This thing can be used here and there, I guess. It's used in some siege offense and is, like, great unit in the first place, so not really needed. Ooh, yeah, that would be like, let's just take it from these. 2A on these. Well, Clyde, arguably already really good. But a 2A on a Kyle? I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind it. And also, please make Kyle 2A if you do make a Kyle 2A. Well, they would never make a 2A of this, because then you would have issues with, like, because you cannot make a Street Fighter version into a 2A. So I don't really see that being happening. So same for this one. I don't think they would ever do those, but would be cool. Yeah. Okay, if we're talking nasty 2As, yep. Kinky, Fuki, Suiki, and Kaki would be really nice. Back to the old Kaki drama where Kaki was way too OP. Of course, Ongyuki is in there, so I don't expect them to be doing those. And that is about all. So let me know in the comments, which one would you like to see most for a 2A family? I wouldn't really go, like, I could go very in depth of, like, what skills could you upgrade for each individual unit. It's always kind of at random what they add for the skills. We have seen it before. I tried to predict it when we knew kind of what units were coming for, like, 3 stars into 2As. It always kind of goes at random. They could be adding a lot of things, could be adding very minor, small things out there. But yeah, for me, the families that really do stand out, I wouldn't mind Samurai family. I think that one would be really cool. And I would actually say the Epicon Priest family. I think that those are the two for me personally that I would say is like, yo, that would be really dope if they add in 2As for those. And sure, there's a lot of families that they could do something with. And I would say they still have this one-dimensional raid slot open or whatever, like dimensional hole. Is this a dimensional hole? I have no clue how they actually called it. A new dimension. They could add in this new dimension. It's been closed for like ages already. Sure, after this, you could definitely add like more to the page. Like it is a possibility right there. But it would add something fresh to the game. It would add something nice to the game. It would add like that 9.0 value to the game, where you actually would say it's like, yo, something new happened, something cool happened, something actually is going on. And let me know in the comments if you guys would be all up for that idea. Or maybe you have some other crazy ideas of what they could add to the game, of actually making things a little bit refreshing, getting people back to the game, because that would be a factor where people would say it's like, ooh, haven't played in a while, but I still had that unit kind of like half leveled from like way back in the days. Let me actually get back to that one, because that would be cool to start using, trying that out. Few new mechanics coming in, few new things coming in, people actually start playing again. Whereas right now, I talk to a whole bunch of people and everyone's like, yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for a patch or something to happen. And I'm even on the point that I'm forgetting the robots and kind of stuff, because there's just not that much stuff going on. Well, either way, guys, trying to keep the hype and the videos a little bit fun and a little bit like curious, or saying like, okay, what could they maybe do? Maybe someone will come to us at some point, sees the video, and in like half a year or a year, they actually do things like, wait, that was actually a good idea. Let's start implementing that, because we also have no clue what to do with our game. I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, guys, anyhow, still appreciate y'all for being here. You guys still make it viable that I make these kind of videos. And if you would like to see any specific video on any kind of topic, let me know in the comment section, or if you have any good suggestion for any kind of video, let me know as well. So I have a whole bunch of videos on the pile to be doing. I also do want to take this time for me to mention that I am going to Shanghai on the 10th of July. We'll be there for about a week and a half, so there might be a little bit less videos. Don't be like, oh, he's quitting the game. No, I'm just going to be on a little bit of a holiday, plus like a little bit of a trip for Ethereum Restart, because Ethereum Restart did invite me to go to Shanghai for the EWS, which is going to be pretty much the SWC of Ethereum Restart. So we'll see how that goes. We'll probably make a video on that here and there as well, because why not? Either out, guys. Thanks a lot for watching for this one. See you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.